What if the move that actually preserves Steph's window isn't the shiny name, but the one that makes every possession simpler? What if the one player we're most afraid to move is the key that unlocks two problems at once? And what if the team that can push us to make that call is the one that shares a tunnel with our biggest West Coast headache? I'm going to map the whole thing. No fluff, no recycled gossip. I'll show you the cap math in plain English. The real roster pressures that are forcing this conversation. And the precise kinds of players that turn a May matchup from coin flip into we control the terms. And when we get there, when the picture is clear, I'll put the name on it and tell you exactly how this gets real. You know me? I love the upside. I love the kids, but I also love rings. That means I care about fit, sequence, and what a possession feels like for Stephen Curry in the last 6 minutes. If you're here for that kind of talk, you're home. Stick with me, because the twist isn't who you think. It's when and why. Let me start at the core truth. I can't escape. Our timeline is brutally honest. Curry is still gravity on two legs. Draymond is still a supercomputer on defense. The young core Podziemski, Trace, and yes, Jonathan Kuminga has injected oxygen into a group that needed it. But the NB's new rules punish indecision. Hover too long above the big money lines, and you don't get to make the classic contender tricks anymore. The book of little levers is thinner now. You can't just stack contracts to go shopping. You can't take back more money just because you want the shinier piece. Every move has to be balanced, immediate, intentional. That's why this summer was tense. Restricted free agency is a chess clock, and the clock got loud. In the end, the team and Kuminga found a short-term path that keeps him in the building and keeps optionality open. Short runway, team control, and a chance for him to turn a leap into real leverage. It's fair to say both sides preserve what they needed most, flexibility. And that's where the conversation we're having today starts, not ends. Because flexibility cuts two ways. If JK pops consistency, reads, rim pressure with control, we're cooking. The two-man actions with Steph get sharper. The small ball lineups keep their bite without giving up the glass. If he doesn't pop in the exact ways this system demands, we're duplicating traits we already have and leaving other gaps unpatched. The math of deep playoff basketball isn't romantic. It's ruthless. You need the three kinds of pressure: on-ball creation that bends a shell, vertical gravity that pulls a big out of the paint, and point-of-attack defense that survives the first screen. We don't have the luxury of chasing all three via minimums, and prayers dot, so here's the practical pressure. We must turn one asset into two solutions without growing the bill. That's the trick under the current rules. And there are only a handful of partners that can do that for us teams that want pure athletic prime, can spare role players who slot into our system day one, and can play within a dollar-for-dollar framework. Those teams exist, but they're not the obvious ones. They're veteran-heavy rosters realizing they need exactly what we have: a burst of legs, an engine of transition, and the confidence to live at the rim. Before we name names, let's be clear on what two solutions means for us. I want a sturdy point-of-attack wing who doesn't bleed at the nail, who can guard downhill guards without a panic switch from the back line. I also want a steady possession organizer, doesn't need to be a high-usage creator, just a guard who keeps Steph off the ball when we want, enters us into actions faster, and doesn't hijack the clock. Those two profiles pull a wing and clean connector turn. Our lineups from interesting to inevitable. And if I can get a third, bonus an elastic four who screens without fouling and shoots. Corners, I'm dancing, now. The hard cap reality means we can't trade nickels and dimes into a dollar. We can't aggregate three little deals to chase a bigger one. If we send out one significant salary, we have to bring back equal or less in total. And if we bring back more players than we send, their combined money still has to live at or under what we sent out. That's fine. It just narrows partners to teams that have movable mid-tier deals with true rotation value. Those are rare, but they exist. And one in particular sits right in our line of sight. let's talk hoops identity for a second, because system fit is half the story. Our offense hums when the second ball handler is decisive, not creative for creativity's sake. We operate at the elbows, we cut on a timer, and we punish ball watching with split cuts and ghost screens. On defense, we need wings who don't die on contact, and bigs who either protect the rim without fouling or switch and shrivel the action. The opponents who hurt us most lately have one of two things: a relentless driver who gets 2 feet in the paint whenever he wants, or a jumbo wing who turns a post-up into a close-out scramble. We need stoppers and calm initiators, not more maybe in the middle. If you're hearing, "This sounds like a man type, a coffee type, a discipline connected with low mistake rates," you're not wrong. And if you're hearing, "This sounds like the team down south that's trying to balance an older core with fresh legs," you're also not wrong. The fit is clean because the needs are opposite. We need plug-and-play roll equity. They need ceiling and runway. We need 2 playable pieces for May. They need 1 playable bet for the next 5 years. Zoom out to spring. Imagine a game where Steph doesn't have to summon a 1-2-0. Run off pure magic because our point of attack coverage actually survives the first dribble. Imagine Draymond quarterbacking helpers who arrive on time because the first containment wasn't a turnstile. Imagine the second unit entering a fence without chewing 8 seconds to find a handoff. That's not star chasing. That's stress removal. That's how you win the minutes that decide series, when the stars cancel each other and the details settle the argument. Okay? Deep breath. Here's the reveal, and it's not theoretical anymore, it's structural. The framework that keeps appearing on whiteboards because it solves opposite problems without breaking the rulebook is a Warriors-Clippers construct built around Jonathan Kuminga. Not a swing for Kawhi fantasy. A surgical, rules-compliant exchange. 1 ascending salary on our side for 2 rotation-ready wings guards on theirs, with the math landing at or under our outgoing number. That's the play that keeps coming back because it's the rare one that gives both teams what they actually need. Let's talk shapes, because names change but shapes don't. Shape A, Kuminga out. A defensive guard who can chase 1s and 2s plus a low-mistake wing who screens, cuts, and hits corner 3s come in. Total dollars under JK's number, years that don't choke our future flexibility, and 0 bloat. Shape B, 3-team scaffold where a scoring guard with term gets rooted to a cap-comfortable third team for picks, and we receive a single higher impact defender whose salary still fits under JK's line. Shape C, center pivot where a reliable screen and rebound 5 comes back with a small backcourt piece attached, giving us lineup optionality without smashing our spacing. Every one of those shapes shares the same spine. We trade 1 uncertainty for 2 present tense answers while staying under the strict money ceiling. Why the Clippers specifically? Because they're older where we're older and need to get younger where we already have youth. They have mid-tier deals attached to players who win playoff possessions without drama. They've been hunting juice on the wing to future-proof their core. And they live in the same reality we do. The rules force clarity. If they believe JK is the flyer that turns their next 3 years into a bridge and not a cliff, then swapping role equity for upside is rational. That's not a rivalry romance. It's a shared math problem. Now let's get into on-court fit quickly, because this is where it gets fun. Give me a point of attack chaser who can tag and recover and watch how our back line breathes. Draymond's roaming becomes proactive again, not emergency base. Our weak side stunts get shorter. Our closeouts get smarter. Offensively, give me a connector who can enter us into delay without clogging the ear pipes, hit Steph in stride, flip the angle, keep the weak side occupied with real cut threats. The entire speed of our offense changes when the second touch is automatic. The reward is hidden possessions, 2 or 3 per game. You don't see in the box score that prevent the 3-minute drought that buries you in. May doubt where does this leave Kuminga in the evaluation. It's simple and hard at the same time. He's our best pure athlete. His rim pressure is non-negotiable in a league that increasingly refuses to give you clean pull-ups in the half court. But the playoff game is about reads, and the Warriors' read tree is complex. If the staff sees him building those reads, you keep betting. If the staff sees marginal progress and a ceiling coming from a different context, you take the value before it flattens. That's not giving up. That's honoring what we ask our offense to be at the highest level. Let's talk risk. Because trading the highest ceiling young piece is emotionally expensive. The nightmare scenario is obvious. JK explodes elsewhere, becomes a two-way freight train, and we get tagged with impatient. The counter nightmare is quieter. We hold. He plateaus here, and we miss the last clean window to convert potential into certainty. There's no painless door. There's only the door that matches the identity of this era. Compete around Steph with lineups that don't hemorrhage matchups and don't need miracles to hold an 8-point lead. A word on assets and timing. The 2-year structure on JK's short runway. Team control was not a coincidence. It protects us from losing him for nothing, and it makes him movable without crossing the new tripwires. It also gives the receiving team the chance to reset postseason. That symmetry is part of why this framework has real legs. And yes, you can still squeeze seconds or light picks on the margins without breaking anything. But the meat of this is players, not paper. If you're making a move like this, you're doing it for May minutes, not June lottery odds. Rotation dash-wise. Picture this after the dust settles. Starters: Steph, a defensive guard who can navigate 2 actions. Wiggins, or the best version of him. Draymond, and the center that night's matchup demands. Bench: Pods as a second side creator, the incoming switchable wing who bores defenses with correct decisions. And Trace getting a PhD in the short roll next to Dre. The second unit doesn't feel like a spin of the roulette wheel. It feels like a plan. And Steph's life gets a touch easier because he's not cleaning up every busted entry with a miracle. This is where I land. And it's not emotional, it's surgical. If the price for 2 playoff bankable role fits is a single piece of high but context-dependent upside, and if the rulebook says we can do it without inflating the bill, you can't ignore that. Does that mean you must pull it today? No. You monitor JK's early season film, decisiveness on short rolls, low turnover rim attacks, second effort defensive possessions. If the trend screams, "It's happening here," you hold and enjoy it. If it stalls, you pick up the phone, because the window never waits and the rules won't suddenly get friendlier. Okay, your turn. Do you flip one ceiling for 2 certainties if the money stays flat and the roles fit like a glove? If the partner is the one we all just pictured, do you do it now, at midseason, or not at all? Would you trade a year of maybe for 7 games in May where Steph doesn't need to be a firefighter? I want real answers below packages you'd accept, packages you'd refuse. The one red line you won't cross. My concise read. I don't shop Kuminga to shop him. I set exactly 1 lane where I move him to day 1. Playoff pieces that solve our point of attack defense and clean our offensive initiation. With total salary at or under his number, no bloat contracts, and no fake assets. If that lane opens with the neighbor down the hall, I walk it. If not, I keep betting on the kid and design the season to speed up his reads, not inflate his usage. Either path respects the window. Either path is consistent. That's how you make a grown-up decision in the era we're playing in. I want your take. Drop your best frameworks and your worst fears in the comments and tell me the exact moment you would or wouldn't pull it. And if you want fast updates with real cat logic and zero noise, stick with me here on Warriors News Fan Report. I'll keep the analysis sharp and the conversation honest every time.